we go. 3-4 equations of lines. Like I said, this is from Algebra 1, not new, pretty easy. You should be okay. Okay? So we have slope-intercept form, which is what? Y equals mx plus b. You've known that forever. What's the m stand for? Slope. What's the b? Y-intercept. Very good. Which one do we graph first, the slope or the y-intercept? The y-intercept. Very good. So if I were you, if that's something you don't remember, put a 1 above the b and a 2 above the m. That way you remember you have to do the b before you do the slope. And if you forget that, b comes before m in the alphabet, so that kind of helps me. But also, you can't do a slope from nothing, right? You have to start somewhere, so you start with the y-intercept. Obviously, the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, right? And then we have point slope form. That's one that you probably didn't work with as much in Algebra 1. You probably saw it, but didn't do a whole lot with it. So we still don't do a ton with point slope in here either, but it'll come back probably Algebra 2 for sure, okay? So we do y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, where m is still the slope, right? And then the point is x1, y1. So, for example, in slope-intercept form, we might have like y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. The reason I'm writing that down is I want you to know that at the end, there's still an x and a y in the equation. Some people think that those should have gone away or turned into numbers or something, and that's not the case. Same thing here. It might be like y minus 2 equals negative 1/2 x plus 7 or something like that. But you see how I still have an x and a y in there? Okay? Write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line having the given slope and the given y-intercept. So I always start, especially with notes, showing every single little thing. Some of you guys probably could jump straight to the answer here, and that's totally fine. But I just want to make sure you guys know the formula and how to use it. So I'm going to start with y equals mx plus b. Anytime they said write the equation in slope-intercept form, I always do that first. I remind myself that m and b, when I'm done, need to be a number. Okay, x and y when I'm done need to be x and y. I might change them as I go, but at the end I'm going to have an x and a y. So what is m? Negative 3/4. So literally I'm going to substitute negative 3/4 in here. What's b? 4. Because if this is 0, 4, isn't that the y-intercept? Right? So this is b. Is that okay? So this would be y equals negative 3/4x plus 4. That's all they asked me to do. Does that make sense? Anybody confused? Obviously, it could get harder than that. They may not give it to you that easily, but that's the concept. Okay? Write an equation again, this time in point slope form of the line having the given slope and contains the given point. So I'm going to start with my general equation first, right? I'm going to start with my y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. I'm going to remind myself that all three of these in the end are going to be a number. So in the end, again, I'm going to have an x and a y, but in the meantime, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to have, right? So I know m is negative 4/5, so obviously I'm going to put that in for m. That's what they literally said, right? And then what else do I know? Give this a letter. It's x1 and y1. Remember back here? It's x1 and y1. That matters. I understand it's an x and a y, but it's not this one and it's not that one. It's these two when they gave me that ordered pair. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Okay, so be careful with that. So let's put everything where it goes. The y is still a y. We said x1, y1. So what do I put instead of a y1? Negative 6. I'll deal with that later. Instead of m, negative 4/5. Good. And x minus what? Negative 3. And then pause there. All I did was substitute, right? This is not a proof, so two negatives do make a positive, and I actually want to do that, right? So I'm going to rewrite it. Oh, I don't need parentheses, just kidding. Y plus 6 equals negative 4/5, parentheses, x plus 3. That would be my final, I'm done, I understand answer. Okay? Both of these give the equation of a line. They're just different forms of it. So when we have y equals mx plus b, it's really quick and really easy to find the slope and the y-intercept. When we have this version, the point slope version, you'll find out why it's helpful in Algebra 2. In geometry, it's not any more helpful, I feel like, than slope-intercept form. But in Algebra 2, I find that most people prefer that one by the end of the year. You can do that. I think it's longer than what I did, but that's fine. Yeah, as long as you get there, that's fine. Okay? Anybody have a question? All right. Let's do, I wrote to do this one first. I don't remember why, but I said to do this one first for some reason. So let's do this one first. Write an equation of the line through each pair of points in slope-intercept form. So that means y equals mx plus b. So I need m and I need b, the y-intercept. Do I have m? Did they just say m is 7? No. So how can I find m? Slope formula? Right? So the slope formula, in case you've forgotten, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If you're a memorizer, that's easy for you. If you're not a memorizer, there's a lot of formulas in this class, right? So if you're not a memorizer, you got to kind of work your way around that. All that is the change in y over the change in x. So what that means is I can do this minus this over this minus this, or this minus this over this minus this. Either way is fine as long as you're consistent. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you're not a memorizer and you don't make a note card or whatever, it's not that hard. Just say the y is on top, the x is on the bottom. Change in y over change in x. Okay? So slope formula should be 9 minus negative 6 over 8 minus negative 12 is probably what most of you did. Two negatives make a positive. What's 9 minus negative 6? 15 over 20, always, always, always reduce, and we get 3/4. So that's m. M is 3 over 4. So right now I have y equals 3 over 4x plus b. What else do I need? B. So don't say anything out loud yet. Think for a moment, okay? I need b. I have a bunch of what's. What do I have? The only thing I have is these, right? What are they? Give them letters? Letter? X, Y, X, Y, right? So if I picked one of those, either one, couldn't I plug it in for X and Y and then be left with B? Right? When you don't know what to do, go to the only thing they gave you. This is my only option. I can't do anything else, right? So you pick whichever one of these looks easier to you. Most people prefer positives, right? I would probably pick this ordered pair. Doesn't matter though. Either way, you'll get the same answer. You substitute them for X and Y, and that's how you find B. Does that make sense to everybody? So pick whichever one you want. I think I ended up doing 8 and 9, okay? So instead of a y, what am I going to put? 9 instead of x. 8, I'm going to put 8 over a 1 because I'm doing it without a calculator. But obviously you don't have to do that, right? You don't need a calculator. How many times 4 grow into 8? 2. So I have 9 equals 6 plus b. I'm going to capitalize the b. And what do I need to do? Subtract 6, so I get 3. So my final answer said slope-intercept form, so that's not my answer. My final answer is y equals mx plus b. Y equals 3 over 4x plus 3. Do you guys get what we just did? We found slope. We used slope formula. No big deal. We've been doing that forever, right? We had to find b, but the problem is a lot of people accidentally stop here when the actual question wanted this. They wanted the m and the b together in slope-intercept form. Did I lose anybody? You guys kind of okay? Okay, the other question is the exact same concept. So you guys find m using your slope formula, however you do it. If you had to, could you graph it and do rise over run? Sure, but I probably wouldn't. You need to know the slope formula at some point. So -4 minus -4 all over 3 minus -1. What do we get in the numerator? So keep it, change it, add the opposite. You get 0 over 4 is 0, right? So there's a couple different ways we can think about that. Let's just finish it with the algebra since that's what most of you are probably used to, but then I'll talk about how you could have thought about it instead, okay? So I have y equals mx plus b. Is everybody okay with that? I need b. Which ordered pair do you guys want, the first or the second? It makes no difference. I heard more first. If you want to do the second, do the second. That's fine. You don't have to do what I did, okay? So instead of a y, I'm going to put -4 instead of an x. -1 plus b. So negative 4 equals 0 plus b, so b is negative 4. So if I were to write all that again, y equals 0x minus 4, okay? What's 0 times anything? So this is just y equals negative 4, isn't it? Do you guys see what I'm saying? Let's think about that graphically instead of algebraically. We just did the algebra. We just did everything we did on the first one. Substitution, it's fine. That's your answer. That's totally fine. But if we have a 0 slope, show me on your arm. Would that be a vertical line or a horizontal line? 0 slope, very good, is a horizontal line. So for video people, that's this way, right? That's a horizontal line. So when you have a line like that, this is my y-axis, this is my x-axis, right? If you have a horizontal line at negative 4 for both of them, so like negative 1, negative 4-ish, and 3, negative 4, I didn't really do it properly. But that's the line y equals negative 4. Do you guys see what I'm saying? That's something you should know eventually, pretty quickly. Here's how a lot of people get confused. They accidentally think that's x equals something. What's the y on both of these? Negative 4. The x's aren't the same, so it can't be x is something because they're not the same, right? Here's another way to think of it. If this is the y-axis, my vertical, then a y-line is my horizontal. If my x-axis is horizontal, my y-line is vertical, if that helps you. Okay? Or you can just do the math, whatever works. Anybody confused? Anybody still need that page? Okay? Write an equation in slope-intercept form again, so y equals mx plus b, for the line described. It passes through negative 7, negative 4, and it's perpendicular to that line. So I'm going to start with y equals mx plus b every time, so that way I know that's what they said they wanted. I need m, I need b. Did they flat out give me m? M is 16 and a half. They wouldn't say it that way, I guess, but, right? Did they flat out give me b? No, they didn't give me anything, technically, right? They gave me, what is this? What am I going to call them? X and Y. Okay, well, that's helpful, right? Why would they tell me this? Yeah, so what's the slope of this line? 1/2. Everybody gets that's y equals mx plus b. It's already in slope-intercept form, right? So if the slope of this is 1/2, what's the perpendicular slope? -2, right? Opposite reciprocal. Does everybody understand that? So my slope is -2. Here's what I do. I go ahead and substitute that in, and then I put a big X on this. The reason I X that out is because I can no longer use that information. It is no longer helpful to me. Some people accidentally think that 9 is helpful or something like that. It's not. The only thing that they helped us with was our slope. So now quit looking there. Does that make sense to you? Okay, I like to cross it off when I'm done. So all I have is X and Y, just like the other question, right? I'm going to substitute X and Y in and find B, right? So instead of a Y, what do I need? -4. Instead of an X, -7, and you solve for b. So -4 equals 2 negatives make a positive. I'm going to capitalize b again so it doesn't look like a 6. You do what works for you. But what would I do to both sides? Subtract the 14 and I get -18. That's not my final answer, right? So y equals what? Y equals -2x minus 18. So I know it's y equals mx plus b, but really it's plus or minus b. So they don't, it doesn't have to be a positive. A -18 is fine. This is still in slope-intercept form. Do you guys get what I'm saying there? Okay. Did I lose anybody at all? Was that pretty easy review for you? Like you followed that? Okay. Your homework